So I finally made up my mind after some research and getting some really good comments from you from my previous video. And I'm leaning towards that I will in the long term save up for this synthesizer. You might think that I've been hitting my head really hard now after I was so skeptical yesterday. And what made me change my mind is that I see this more now as a Pro One with some extra features. And I'm not certain that this will be the sound that I'm looking for, but I'm willing to try it out. And so this will be very experimental and to see if I like it or not. And other options that I already have would be the Take 5, which I already have. And I noticed that my YouTube videos are now gaining so much more interest on the Take 5. So many are watching the demos right now with the Take 5. And I think it's makes perfect sense. I think they're comparing this with the Sequential Fourm since they both have Prophet 5 filters. But I think that this is more leaning towards the Pro One, and we shouldn't see it as a Prophet 5 even if it has this component layout in it. And what I don't like will always remain that I don't like with it, but there's not much I can do, and I really don't think personally that Sequential will make a reissue of the Pro One. I think that if they do, I think it would be a much greater work to do, and I'm not so much sure if that will happen. So I think that if I want a Pro One, a little bit modernized without buying the vintage one, I think this is the best I can reach for. And of course, the keypad, I'm not so much fan about slim keys, but let's take it on the other hand like this. Isn't it interesting that you can get a polyphonic aftertouch keypad on a synth for this price range? For me, I don't need it. It's not my thing, but I think that for the ones that need it, it's really good. And I'm not sure how the slim keys are. I haven't seen them in real life, so I cannot comment too much about them. But I like bigger keys, that's how it is. I like this octave switch layout on the oscillators, as I mentioned yesterday. And I think that the modulation matrix, or the modulation page, I should say, the buses can really make some interesting sound. But I'm pretty much sure that still this will be like a little bit rawer sound, but much more limited compared to the Take 5. The Take 5 doesn't have as raw tone as the Fourm, it seems like, but this one has way more modulation, and it's a different type of synthesizer. But when I compare, and I'm going to be saying now that don't get angry when I compare if you like Moog, if I'm going to compare with this one, I think this is a good synthesizer, but I'm leaning more towards the Sequential Fourm for the reasons that I'm not so much sure about if I like this interface, and for some reason it tends to be like the ladder filter tends to be a little bit more limited than the Prophet filter. That's what I feel when I'm using the Trigun. I think the Prophet filter can bring a little bit different sounds, clear sounds, and way different and more sharp sounds. The Moog ladder filter, I think, is way more distorted and making different sound. But that's the character of it, and it's a perfect if you need it. But I'm leaning more towards the Prophet filter. And of course, there are some things that I'm not super excited about, which would be like the noise is not a knob, which you find on the Messenger instead. I think this gives more direct control. But I have it on a Take 5, so I guess I have to live with it. And I've noticed that whatever I pick, or seem to pick, there's always a compromise from one synth to another that it's impossible to find a perfect one. I have so many in the studio that I could give some complaints about. So it's basically how it is. No synthesizer is perfect. But on the other hand, this seems to catch my Pro One interest a bit. So that's where it's leaning towards. And I think that, I think I'm ready to try this out. And if you're more interested in complex sound, I think you should have a look at the Take 5. But if you like more into the raw tones, perhaps this can be a more interesting choice. And what do I think about the price tag now if I should get one? I think the price tag isn't that bad. I think it's, for some reason, I think that they do not want to go too much cheap. They do not want to go too much expensive. But for example, I mean, you have an OLED display, you have a very nice layout if you're going to change the programs with this knob and things like that, and you have some extra things that you can do. You can change the sample and hold mode on the synthesizer, so there are some clever things added to it. So and also that I'm starting to like the design a little bit more on it now. That always takes time, and that's how it is, when something new is arriving. But it's just a matter of taste. So yeah, I'm excited to try this out, and I think I'm going to save up for one. It won't be like the hardest thing to save up for, but it will take some time anyway, because I've been putting some priority on other things like audio interfaces and things like that in the studio. And what do I think about the mono port now when I've been thinking about getting one? Still, I would like to have a stereo, but since it's a mono, I mean, the Pro one was a mono also, so yeah, it is what it is. And also, the power supply, instead of having like a power supply inside of the synth, yeah, I can live with it. But I mean, for the price range, I expect them to be like this. It's the same like if you buy Roland products or Korg. I mean, you get these adapters also, so I mean, it would be like unlogic if I would think that they would even put the power supply inside of the synth. And having it outside of the synth will not generate heat inside of it. And so there are like some advantages also, but not like if they are not generating too much heat nowadays. So it's not a big deal anyway to have them inside, but I think it's a design approach then. And also that the more I look at it now, the more I think it's leaning towards not being too much cheap, but it's they want to land it between somewhere to have like a Pro one with 4 voices, something like that, I guess. And what I think will be exciting with that is that when using the unison mode, you can use more than one voice, and you can make a voice detune on it. So I think you can make some interesting sounds with it. So I would like to thank everyone for the comments on my previous video, and I'm looking forward to save up for this, but I'm going to be honest that this won't be the most exciting purchase that I'm looking forward to, because I already have so many synths that I like, but it's always nice to have something new and to try something new out also. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that I'm thinking a bit weird now, or do you think that my prediction is like a little bit more aligned with what it should be? Yeah, the polyphonic aftertouch, I don't really need to have it, but it's nice to have it there. That's what I can say. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good time.